feel good tonight. What's up, everybody? Welcome in to Prime Time Early Edge. We count down to the final game of Week 8. Tonight, it's the Raiders and the Lions, live from Detroit City. And tonight, the Raiders, who have not scored over 21 points all season long, 1-5 straight up, 1-5 against the spread in their last 6 road games. The Lions trying to bounce back from getting pasted a week ago to the Baltimore Ravens, where they managed only 6 points, a perfect bounce back spot tonight. Now, my entire crew has had a great weekend, but we're only as good as our last show. The chat is popping. Don't forget to hit that like button for me and keep on talking. But I got to bring in the stars of the show. You know them, you love them, and on a Monday night, I bring in them. Oh, my absolute very best. We go 6 wide. The counselor is here. Proppy is here. My 5-tool player, AB, is here. Coach Phil is here. And, of course, EC is here. Now, I feel the tension. I feel the tension right now. And, EC, I got to tell you, Coach Phil was not happy with you last night. What are your thoughts sending in a video to try to just kind of the screws a little bit harder? What were you thinking?
I'm glad I'm in Arizona and he's in Colorado. Let me tell you that. Because otherwise it wouldn't go well for me. Listen, when you get to the club, you get an ego. And I've been there. I see what you guys have been going through. Listen, Phil, you'll understand when you get there. I don't know when that will happen, but it just feels good finally to get that monkey off my back. You know, my picks have been rough lately, but I'm in the club, and that's all that matters.
Phil?
Okay, I was just waiting my turn, just letting him just go on a long-winded diatribe like that video was, a long, incoherent, rambling statement. I understand completely what you said. I'm happy for you. I love the movie Rudy, to be honest with you. And when I look at you, you know, whether it's Tiny Tim or Rudy or, you know, just these long shot underdogs, you know, I just really relate to you, and I'm really proud of you. I'm happy for you, son.
Thank you.
Oh, my God. You too. Oh, you too. All right, we got to jump right in. We got a big game to get to tonight. By the way, tip of the cap, our man Buckets from the morning show, 2 for 2. You guys all tease about all those soccer leagues. He just keeps cashing tickets one after another. Now, here it is. AB, how good do the graphics look? I mean, you are next level, son. Next level. Lions favored by 7. It's come all the way down. It started 5 days ago. What, 8.5, 9, total 45.5. We always start with Coach Phil's keys to the game. We start with Vegas. Phil, you're up.
Yeah, so I think the biggest question right off the bat is, can the Vegas offense score enough points to keep pace with these Lions? They're 27th in total offense. They're last in rushing yards in the NFL. They're 30th in points with 16 a game, while the Lions are scoring 25. Josh Jacobs has 7 straight games where he's been under 4 yards per carry. And then Devontae Adams, even the great Devontae Adams, one of the best players in the NFL, has been under 60 yards 3 straight games. So getting Jimmy G back, can that intensify and electrify this offense? We're going to find out. The second thing is the Raiders defense is surprisingly good. If you take away the 2 games where they got blown out with last week's Bears games and earlier in the year against the Bills, this is a very good defense. If you take those 2 games away, defensive coordinator Patrick Graham is one of the rising stars in the coaching profession. He's got the 9th-ranked defense, and they're going to be on the road at Ford Field. They're going to bring the 7th-ranked pass defense, and then Max Crosby. He has 43 pressures, only 15 sacks, but this guy's like a human Instapot. He's just bringing pressure from all different directions. They only have the 15 sacks, which, again, I'm told with that 43 pressures, they have to get home, and they've only forced 1 fumble this year, and if they expect to win on the road, they need to create more than that at Ford Field.
I don't know if I've ever seen a player with a bigger motor than that man we just saw on the screen right now.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I would pay just to watch him and Hutchinson rush the passer on, like, that's worth the price of admission. Just put your eyes right down there at the defensive end position and watch the effort that you're going to get tonight.
100%. All right, Counselor, come to you. So we've just heard Coach Phil's keys to the game for the Raiders, and you have a couple of plays from that side. It's a fade and also an over. You're up.
Yeah, by the way, as it pertains to Max Crosby, if he was in a really big market, like let's say New York, he'd be an absolute superstar.
Yes.
He is so underappreciated. Yes. And it's really, it gets on my nerves a little bit because he is so good and he's just not getting the appreciation that he deserves. Okay, who does get the appreciation tonight? It's Jacoby Myers. I've got him over 61.5 receiving yards. this is one of those where there's a lot of things working for me. I think the main thing when I look at the receivers, especially on this side of the ball versus Detroit, for example, concentration of targets. The target share up 70 to 75% of the targets go to Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, and Jacoby Myers. That is great. Even if Michael Mayer jumps into the fray a little bit, Hunter Renfrow gets a target, let's say, the bottom line is most of the targets, especially in the receiver group, go to Devontae and Jacoby Myers. I'm anticipating, just like yesterday with my Bayesian play, I'm anticipating a negative game script for the majority of this game. But even in a neutral game script, I'm okay with this prop with Jacoby Myers over his receiving yards. I got the concentration of targets. I've got a really good target share. If you look at his target share versus Devontae Adams, they basically mirror each other. In fact, Jacoby Myers actually edges him out. But I think there's going to be a correction there where Devontae's going to get more targets this game. But the target share really is equivalent. The last thing I'll say on this one, slot roll more often than not for Jacoby Myers, at least versus Devontae Adams. So because he's in the slot, he's going to have there's a little bit more of an advantage against that Detroit secondary, which by the way is a little banged up. So give me Jacoby Myers over 61.5 receiving yards. This next one, I'll be really short on this one. This is a little scary. If you don't want to play this one, I get it. It's an under, and it's a kind of a tricky under. I played this this type of bet a lot last year. I've got Josh Jacobs under 13.5, longest rush under 13.5 yards. This is one of those where you combine the Detroit rush defense, which is only allowing 3.6 yards per carry, to Josh Jacobs, who's the most inefficient starting running back in the league at 2.9 yards per carry. He'll probably get about 15 to 16 rushing attempts. He's been very inefficient. And the best thing about this is Detroit, from a yards per contact standpoint, yards before contact standpoint, they're top 10. And that is a pretty big metric when you're looking at longest rush props in particular. Give me the under 13.5.
Buckets 2024 says, Coach, does Counselor have any DFS showdown sleepers for tonight?
Oh, sleepers. I'll get back to you on that one.
All right. We're going to be on for another 30 or 40 minutes, so hopefully we'll get back to you in like 20 minutes. Thank you, Counselor, very much. Now, EC, let me come over to you because you drive me crazy because Buckets gets into the chat, and instead of paying attention to a great take from the Counselor, what do? You write, hey, Buckets, my man, please teach me how to get so many check marks. It's been rough for me lately. What is wrong with you? Now,
I heard everything the Counselor said. I thought they were two great takes, and I will play both of those in my same game parlay at some point. But I had to throw that in there about Buckets.
Now, you have one play on the Raiders side of things. And apparently there's a lot of Myers and Mayers and all these kind of same names tonight. So we got to be very, very clear on who we're playing. Who do you like on the Raiders side?
This is the Raiders rookie tight end, Michael Mayer, over 21.5 receiving yards at -115. Now, I saw this line actually go up. I think I've seen it as high as 25.5. Still play it up to 30 because the Lions have allowed 8 tight ends over 30 yards this year, and they've allowed the third most receiving yards to tight ends this season. In the last 3 weeks, Mayer has 9 catches on 13 targets. That's 3 a game. If you can't get 26 yards on 3 catches as a tight end, well, I deserve to lose. I'll put it that way. He played 92% of the snaps with the starters last week. I feel good about it. And the 2 games that he has gone over this number, Jimmy Garoppolo started and played in both games. I feel good about it. So let's go Mayer over 21.5 receiving yards.
All right. I have a feeling that when you get it going, you're really going to get it going. I'm waiting because you had one of those streaks last year. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I believe in you. I really, really do. Now, Coach Phil, let me come to you because we need to flip the script and go to the Lions sides of things. Now, they're the only team that has a winning record in the NFC North. They've got this division right in the palm of their hands. What's the keys to their game tonight?
Yeah, the first thing they need to do is this fourth-ranked offense has to get back on track after last week's performance against the Ravens, as you alluded to in the intro. Ben Johnson is their offensive coordinator. He's known for the physicality in the run game, creative trick plays, some of the best ones you've ever seen. Looks like Meadowlark Lemon and the Harlem Globetrotters, some of this ball handling they've been doing. And then the efficiency in the pass game with Jared Goff has been impressive all year. Just if you're concerned about this Detroit team, just something you need to figure out. NFC teams are 1-16 against Lamar Jackson at M&T Bank Stadium. So this is not like a one-off thing. People get rolled by this guy quite often. So I'm going to look at it as one-off thing and just look at what they've done. They've been the most explosive offense in the NFL, 36 plays of 20 yards or more. St. Brown's been one of those guys who's just been awesome. Josh Reynolds, we have another Reynolds. So Reynolds and Mayer and all these guys. We all kinds of names coming out. Sam Laporta's been an awesome contributor for them at the tight end position. No David Montgomery, so I'm expecting Jahmyr Gibbs to have an intensified role. He had a really good second half of the game, 68 yards and a touchdown against the Ravens. And despite the loss to Baltimore, in the fashion that they're in the top 10 in almost every statistical category still on offense. Switching over to the defense for the Lions, key number 2 is they are improved in 2023. They're the 10th overall defense, and Aaron Glenn's defense, who's stopping the run at their second in the NFL against the run, is looking to bounce back in a big way at home. They've only given up 76 yards a game on the ground, which is outstanding, and you know the Raiders have really struggled to run the football. That's why Sia played what he played. They're holding running backs to 3.6 yards per carry. And one area they can improve, same as the Raiders, is they only have 15 sacks. They're in the 8-way tie for basically second to last in the NFL, despite having Aiden Hutchinson at 4.5 sacks and his 42 pressures. So are they going to get it back going? Are they going to shut this Raiders team down? Are they going to keep them under 20 points? All things that we're going to find out very, very soon.
I will ask you all one very simple question. Do you want to do the work? I didn't think so. Coach Phil all over. By the way, Quaka, hopefully I said that name right, says EC is on my grumpy side for dissing Coach Phil yesterday. Coach Phil rocks. EC,
That was his mother again. Yeah.
Now, Proppy, I'm looking you dead in the eye, big boy, because I see 2 plays, and they're on the Lions side of things. I need to go Josh Reynolds first for a reason, and I'm trying to find all the notes I took on you. Can you remind me real quick, what did you do over the weekend?
I had a very good weekend, Coach. I believe it was good. But we're going to start with Josh Reynolds.
Oh, come on. How good was it?
It was good across the board. I believe on the website we went 11-4 on the Friday prop show, 4-0 on pick 6, 4-1 last night, 2-0. So cumulatively, it was very good. But yeah, we're going to start with Josh Reynolds, Coach, over 34.5 receiving yards. This guy is firmly entrenched as the wide receiver 2 in Detroit's offense. Besides Amon-Ra St. Brown, this guy runs the most routes. He's quietly having a breakout season as well. He's eclipsed this in 6 of 7 games. He's averaging 54 receiving yards per game, scored 4 touchdowns, 18 yards per reception, and then most importantly, he's getting targeted not just down the field, but down the middle of the field in the splash zone. So I love this spot for Josh Reynolds tonight. And then I'm going to take a play that I gave out on Friday. This is Jahmyr Gibbs to go over 64.5 rushing yards. This line is currently 72.5 on some books, even higher on other books. Quite a bit of closing line value if you're a SportsLine subscriber or you tuned into the Friday prop show. He's going to be the feature back tonight. Sans David Montgomery. It's going to be the Jahmyr Gibbs show. We know Detroit, they have one of the highest run rates in the NFL. That's what they want to do. They lean on that excellent offensive line, facing a Raiders defense that both struggles defending the run and the pass. This is a tremendous matchup on paper for the explosive running back Jahmyr Gibbs, who looks better and better every week. I would personally scale down to a half unit if you weren't able to get the original number I gave out. Quite a bit of difference there, obviously. Or I would actually consider pivoting to another play that one of my esteemed colleagues is going to give out shortly.
2 ways that you can get the line when we give it out. Be a SportsLine member, turn on the notifications, and the second he puts it up on SportsLine, you will see it. Or on Fridays at 4 p.m., you could watch us live. Hashtag educate and entertain. Hashtag knowledge is power. Watch us live. If you can't, as close to live as possible. It matters. You can see it right now in this Gibbs play. Now, leave it to my man EC, who Anderson says in the chat will be hosting the show soon. Not going to happen. But, EC, everybody loves Gibbs tonight, but yet you're fading him somehow. In what way?
Well, here's the thing, Coach. I actually texted Proppy when I was making this pick last night. I was like, listen, I promise this is not a fade on your pick because I actually like Proppy's pick and I would play the over there. But I'm going to fade Jahmyr Gibbs' rushing attempts and go under 15.5. He's only exceeded this once in 5 games this season, which was 17 against Atlanta. But he's 5'9", 200 pounds. He's not a prototypical between the tackles running back. The goal is to get him out in space. He has 50 catches and 50 carries and 23 catches on the year thus far. I see a game more like 12-6, and I think he can break a 40 or 50-yard run and hit Proppy's total, on 2 or 3 carries right there. But I don't think they're going to run him between the tackles 15 times. I just don't see it. I think he's going to get the ball out in space, and I think we're going to see some Craig Reynolds built in there, who has 27 carries in his 5 games that he's played. So I'm playing the under 15.5 on Jahmyr Gibbs rushing attempts. Now, one thing, Coach, I do these social videos where I give out the score of every game. Mm-hmm. And the Thursday night game, I was 1 point off. People love to make comments, whatever. I was 1 point off. I said 24-17 Bills. It was 24-16 or 24-18. I'm sorry. So then last night on the other primetime game, I had Chargers 30, Bears 14. The final score was 30-13. What am I doing tonight? Lions 31, Raiders 13. Do with that as you please.
I'm going to bet the damn Lions is what I'm going to do with that as I please. By the way, Z-Turp said, just renewed my subscription, Coach. Thank you very much. Also, somebody in the chat said over 27.5 team total for the Lions. I've already played that myself. Play it, book it, play it. Now, yeah, Counselor, go.
So this is really important as it pertains to Proppy's play and EC's play.
Okay.
EC mentioned Craig Reynolds. So what we have to understand about Craig Reynolds, he didn't get much run last game, pun intended. And that's partly because he was coming off an injury and because the game got completely away from Detroit. Now they're in a positive game script. Craig Reynolds really is that between the tackles guy. Now, don't get me wrong. Jahmyr Gibbs will be as well. But his prop right now, speaking of it pays to watch live, is 18.5 rushing yards. I like that quite a bit.
Nobody's better than the Counselor. Who are you guys talking to? Stop it. Just stop it. By the way, would you like longest reception 18.5 for your boy in the chat? Probably they're asking for Reynolds tonight.
I would. He's hit that in 6 or 7 games. I would. I prefer the yardage, considering that clip, half of that is nearly his entire total. But I definitely lean over on that as well.
All right, 3 or 4 Modus plays. This is why you watch this show live. This next moment is also why you ask us live. Now, I know my boy's competitive, and I know he wants to stay in the Coach Phil keys to the game. But tonight, for the first time ever, my man is throwing a play out. Coach Phil, floor is yours. What do you like?
Yeah, so the combo total of Jahmyr Gibbs is like 99 yards. And I really love this guy. So when you go back to watching people, and I want to educate, entertain you guys. So this is going to be entertaining to watch this guy accumulate yards, almost like Austin Eckler did last night. So you watch college film and you identify, can a guy have the functional movement skills to be a competitor at this level? Yes, check. Him and Bijan Robinson were the 2 backs for me in this draft. Then can they retain the playbook? They know what they're doing. Yeah, you can see that in the preseason. They can do that. Then the third thing is durability and availability. And then the fourth thing is opportunity. Now with David Montgomery out and all these arrow up ascending traits of this young player, it's hard for me not to root for Jahmyr Gibbs. And to be honest, when I lose the gem, I have to sit and watch something for the entire night. I need something else to be positive about. This is a positive bet. I'm a positive guy. We're going to be positively pulling for Jahmyr Gibbs tonight.
I just had a tear just go down the side of my face. Just one. That was beautiful, Phil. That was beautiful. You've got a future in this business. You really do have a future in this business. Now, this morning, by the way, the Maestro's on Jacoby Myers over 4.5 catches. So we've arrived at that time of the show that you guys know and you love. And on the morning show in the Buckets no-fly zone, he picked Jared Goff to throw an interception tonight. You can't make it up. However, these are the true experts. And I see you, Buckets, in the chat. And, yeah, I said it. AB, you're up, big boy.
I appreciate that, Coach. Yeah, Jared Goff. Everybody's pulling against him tonight. Now, look, here's the deal. Like the Iowa Hawkeyes, we're going to see some ball hawks tonight coming out. Let's take a look at Jimmy Garoppolo first. Our man here could be in some trouble. All right, if you are brand new to the show, to the new no-fly zone, top left, the Lions' secondary defensive completion percentage rankings across the NFL. Below that, SportsLine's interception simulation percentages that Jimmy Garoppolo is throwing a pick tonight. It's actually well over 100%, but we're just going to go all the way to the top because it would confuse everyone. Now, Garoppolo, you look at his interception splits, bottom left, actually kind of standard fare, 62.5% second half, 62.5% second down. The second down part is interesting. Pay attention to that tonight because the run game is not going to be there for him. Top right, is Jimmy Garoppolo, basically an amalgam of one game for him. Not too terribly bad. 68% completion percentage. It's just the touchdowns and interceptions. Look at that ratio. 7 touchdowns to 8 interceptions this year. And the problem is that he's tied for the lead for most interceptions across the NFL, and he's only played in 5 games. He's putting up a pick tonight because the Lions are going to get after him. And where it's going to be, short right, deep left, deep right, because they're going to flush him out, that pass rush that is excellent for Detroit, and force him into a bad situation. So, Garoppolo, sorry, buddy. I love you. You're putting one in the air. Second one, Jared Goff. All right. So, again, this is pretty standard fare. We only have him at 45% to throw an interception tonight because this offense is so balanced, especially in a positive game script where they're running the football, using the tight ends for short passes as a de facto run game. So, the only way really that Goff gets in trouble is if he gets flushed out and if they're playing from behind. Third quarter in games this year, he's thrown 75% of his interceptions, 11-4 TD INT ratio. He actually has the same completion percentage as Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, red zone, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Our man is clean and efficient down there. So again, not betting on him to really throw a pick. I mean, it could happen if he gets into trouble, but that's why the Lions are winning games, because they don't get into trouble. They keep it balanced, keep it honest, and don't try to do too much. Now, let me pull myself back up here so I can put my picks up on the screen and we can knock these out. Got 3 of them. First up, Raiders, Lions, over 2.5 turnovers, -115. I agree with Jimmy Garoppolo throwing picks. Also, if he gets hurt and goes out, Brian Hoyer behind him will absolutely throw picks. And a fun fact, Brian Hoyer has lost 13 straight starts. He started last week with Jimmy Garoppolo out. He has been atrocious. So if you see him and you bet turnovers, I mean, nobody's wishing for injuries, but buddy, that is a golden ticket right there. We're also going to go Josh Jacobs over 3.5 receptions at +120. Phil mentioned that the Lions have the second best run defense in the NFL, 100%. You couple that with a defensive line that is going to get after the quarterback. What does that mean? Draws some more very quick short passes to the running back. Lastly, Sam Laporta over 4.5 receptions at +105 for the Lions, because you know what? When you're balanced and you're running the football, you're going to use the tight ends as a de facto run game as well, but in a positive way. So we're going to take those 3. Feeling good.
I would love for that last name to have that in the first quarter, perhaps. Hint, hint. Proppy, stand by. I'm coming to you next. Coach Phil, go.
Jimmy G, just talking about him. He's coming off of the concussion protocol, so he hasn't had the full complement of route timing, over the last 2-3 weeks. The road noise is going to be a factor tonight, and then you got Aiden Hutchinson with the pressure, so the probability of the pick, I get it 100%, and I see that clearly. Going over to Goff, Joff. I mean, the last time Buckets pronounced Jimmy Garoppolo or something on the show, I couldn't believe what he just said. It was insane. Sorry, I got unprofessional for a second.
It's okay, it happens to all of us.
But it was bad. But so talking about Goff, there's 2 variables that can get the ball away from Jared Goff. 1, Max Crosby. Number 2, the pushing the ball down the field when you're like +7 to 14 points up, you take more chances, you take more risks, and you can see the ball coming down, and you've seen the DBs taking balls away. But for the most part, Goff has done a really good job this season.
Hey, one thing real quick. Sorry. One thing real quick. Notice the Raiders secondary here. Deep left, deep mid, deep right. Not a lot of people are completing passes deep because they're just crushing them with 5, 6, 7-yard passes over and over and over. Just death by 1,000 paper cuts. So, yeah, pay attention to if Goff decides if he even has to throw deep tonight.
All right, boys, as always, you nailed it. Proppy, go. Oh, no.
He just
there he is.
I'm back. Coach, what are we talking about? I'm sorry.
You raised your hand. You said you needed something when AB was talking, right?
Oh, Brian Hoyer is actually inactive. I just wanted to point that out really quickly.
There you go.
Oh, there you go. There you go. By the
Aiden
way,
O'Connell, even better.
can you guys believe that Coach Phil's a line mover? Now, we knew some of you would, Counselor, I get it. But the line is up to 103 as soon as Phil just gave it out. Are you kidding me right now? Phil, very few have the ability to do that. You clearly do.
I mean,
clearly do.
I'm trying to educate and entertain, and clearly I did that in my 60 seconds.
Hey, that's VIP level of the club. Well done.
Yeah, next level, next level. All right, let's go around real quick. We got about 3 minutes till the top of the hour. We're coming to you, Proppy, and then I'm going to just go right around to everybody. Devontae Adams, 5.5, very juicy, -180. I'm sure a lot of books have it up to 6.5 now. Lower juice, 75.5 is his yardage. Talk to me on Devontae.
Yeah, if he's healthy, this is a smash spot for him against the Detroit secondary. Really struggles against opposing wide receivers. He hasn't looked engaged to me recently. Hasn't looked 100% healthy. He's practicing. Generally, he's limited to start the week, then gets in a full practice towards the end of the week. I kind of need to see it before I'm going to back him. If he is healthy, great spot. I just don't have enough confidence in him, considering his practice participation and just how he's looked, to comfortably back him tonight.
Counselor, coming to you, Amon-Ra St. Brown. He was kind of iffy. He's been battling an illness, but if he's anywhere close to 100%, he's gone north of 100 yards in 4 of his last 5 games. His numbers tonight, 7.5 plus money, 81.5 -116.
Yeah, 81.5 is a pretty high number. I thought it was lower in some places. I wouldn't touch that over there, to be honest with you. I listen, I don't know if he's fully healthy. I do think he can exploit the zone of the Raiders. I think they're going to play a lot of zone tonight. I think he's going to be a primary target, but those lines are too high, especially given the circumstances of today.
All right, very good. EC, let me come to you because we talk about Josh Jacobs and under this and over catches, but what about just his straight rushing numbers and combo? 63.5, 86.5.
I think if you're going to go somewhere, Coach, I think that the receiving yards would be where I would go. The thing about Jacobs, I don't think game flow is going to be in his favor. So I would actually play his receiving yards stand alone before I would play that combo number of 86.5. I just don't think he's going to have a great night on the ground, but I could see him getting a few catches through the air.
AB, let me come to you. I've already played this personally. Jared Goff, I think when you come off a game like you had a week ago, this is what Dan Campbell is all about. And Phil knows his team very, very well. He wants to come back and smash your face. And he has said, we're going to smash your face. And that can mean a lot of points, a lot of yards. 264.5 for Jared Goff, 32.5 attempts, 23.5 on completions.
Yeah, I tell you what, I would actually go completions here, right? 32.5 could be iffy, especially if they're up. They're going to run the football. I mean, it's a very, very balanced offense. But the reason why I like completions is this. You spoke about, Coach Phil spoke about the Lions, can they bounce back after that Ravens loss? Well, you know what? The Ravens were bouncing back off the Steelers loss, and they looked phenomenal. And I think that the Lions are going to try to do the exact same thing tonight. So 23.5 completions. You can see a ton of them to running backs, tight ends, very short ones, because again, probably doesn't have to throw deep. So I think that could be your safest play, 23.5, right?
Proppy, go.
I actually like Jared Goff's unders quite a bit tonight, particularly his passing yards. There is a stark contrast between Jared Goff's yards in wins versus losses. In wins, we see his yardage total usually just median average around 220, 225. They really tend to run the football quite a bit, especially at home. You're going to rely heavily on the offensive line, on the ground game. So, yeah, especially when Detroit is favored heavily, when they win by double digits, we really see minimal passing volume from Jared Goff. I actually really like all of his unders tonight.
Now, there's $100 I can't get back. Okay, count that as a loss. Thank you, Proppy. Damn it. Now, see, let me come back to you because Jimmy G on the other side. When you're coming back from an injury, and Phil, I'm coming to you next, 251.5, 34.5, 22.5. We don't know what to expect. Plus, it was a back injury, and we've talked about it a lot here on the show, that sometimes you play the under because there's a possibility he doesn't even finish the game.
Yeah, that's always a possibility. But to be honest with you, when I was sort of looking at this game, one of the plays that I was at least considering was Jimmy G's over in yards. And it's for a couple of reasons. And one is one that we haven't really addressed. And I don't think a lot of people out in the content world are really addressing. And that's that the secondary for the Lions, like they're missing some guys. And I do think, especially when you're talking about an inefficient running game and a negative game script, I mean, what do the Raiders have to do but throw the ball? And Jimmy G's certainly a competent quarterback. If he gets any time, and his offensive line has been a little bit better in terms of giving quarterbacks time, if he gets any time, it's going to be the Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers show. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if he hits Devontae deep. That's all it's going to take to probably eclipse the 250 he needs.
Along those lines, Coach Phil, you've been in this camp prior to this football season. How can the Lions kind of overcome those injuries tonight?
Yeah, I think culturally they're just based on physicality and competitiveness. So Dan's always going to preach a next man up opportunity. So the guys who are getting opportunities, the centers down, the corners down, those twos. You're Brad Holmes is one of the best GMs. Those twos are quality football players. So oftentimes you might spend a year, 2 years, 3 years waiting for an opportunity. And if you're with the right head coach and the right coordinator, you're going to be poised to capitalize on that opportunity and go out there and perform tonight on Monday Night Football.
All right. We have just crossed the top of the hour. It's about 8:02 in the East. You're watching Primetime Early Edge, the #1 sports betting brand in all of America. Now, does anybody have anything else they need to get off their chest? Anything else that needs to be said before we get down to business?
Yeah, real quick. I think that the first quarter is incredibly important for both teams. The Raiders do not need to fall in a hole, and the Lions want to create a hole. Watch the first quarter. You could see both teams very, very aggressive trying to score first and lead.
All right. Do you like anything in that team total in that first quarter, AB?
I think the Raiders, it's very low. I think that's like 3.5, something in the first quarter. It's super low. If it would be anything, it would be the Raiders for sure.
All right. Very, very good. All right. Glenn says, I need a showdown. We've had a lot of showdowns in the last 24 hours. We're worn out. No showdowns tonight. Now, for those of you, many of you here every single night, we love you for that. There's a lot of you that drop in, check out the show. We welcome you as well. This is the part of the show where we have a lot of fun. We like to pick the first touchdown scored of the game. It's got to be plus 1,000 or higher. You can't just pick Amon-Ra St. Brown and say he's going to score. We know that. But who else can get the job done? Then you get into the club, you get to pop bottles, hang out on a Monday night. There's nothing better. Now, 5 of these 6 faces have now got a little gem next to their name, but there is one bald beauty that, alas, does not. So, AB, if you don't mind, throw the graphic up there, and the man that gets to go first, a 3-time champ, he'll tell you 4. He's probably right. Counselor of Cash, you're up.
Yeah, props to Phil, by the way, just because, Coach, I think this was the night you were subjected to the Shakespearean play that, of course, your daughter was starring in. I don't know if you realize that Coach Phil was literally 1.5 inches from actually being the first touchdown scorer with Dalton Kincaid. He got stopped. Like, I just couldn't believe he actually got stopped. I thought he had scored the touchdown. And when I say 1.5 inches, it truly was 1.5 inches. And then, of course, Josh Allen ends up running it in later. But man, that's got to sting, especially
did you hear me one time ever bring that up or complain about that? Never.
Which
not almost, hey, almost on the show. Nope, high character.
Credit to Coach Phil, and that's a slam to EC.
Respect.
Clearly. I don't want to take too much time. Listen, like I just celebrated just last night how I hadn't really been going chalk. I had taken it plus 1,800, plus 2,500, plus 1,900. The 1,900 hit, but I got to go chalk here because Devontae Adams, he's the visitor. He's usually pretty good in prime time. I think Jimmy G back. I think he's really going to target both receivers, but initially I think he's going to target and maybe over target Devontae Adams. I like him as your first touchdown score, plus 1,200.
For those of you out there going, how can Devontae Adams be plus 1,200? Well, understand this. In games like this, when they're playing a first-place team, a really good team, you can get good numbers on the other side. Perfect example of that. How some of you didn't get in before Sia on Devontae Adams.
I waited 5 hours to send my response. I was waiting for somebody to swoop in, Coach Phil in particular.
That's embarrassing, Sia. Just embarrassing. Not for you, for everybody else. All right, AB, you're looking for a 4th gem. Where are you heading tonight?
Yes, sir. Look, I like the way that Sia is thinking. The Raiders are going to try to sell out to score immediately because what do you have to lose? You've got to play aggressive. And we've already cashed on Jakobi Meyers once this season because the head coach of the Raiders has coached him at 2 different places. The quarterback of the Raiders has played with him at 2 different places. There is trust here with Jakobi Meyers. He can do it from deep. He can do it from the 1. I like Myers here, taking plus 1,600.
All right. Can one of these two be the first 4-time champ this season? We're about to find out. Now, there are very few people in my life that are more competitive than my man Proppy. And even though he's got 2 gems, he's not happy. Why? Because he's behind. Proppy is tonight the night. You get number 3.
Let's hope so, Coach. But yeah, I'm going to take Craig Reynolds, Detroit Lions running back. It's going to be the Jahmyr Gibbs show, but Reynolds is going to spell Gibbs. He runs a lot early, first and second down. I could see him getting some of these goal line touches as well. EC mentioned Gibbs does have a smaller frame, so does set up well for Reynolds to be featured between the tackles, especially in short yardage and goal line situations. So give me Craig Reynolds tonight.
All right. As Proppy was talking, I'm just reading the chat, and they're all over your boy. I'm riding with Coach tonight. You're damn right. In Coach, I believe. You're damn right. It's time for me to separate myself from good old EC because there's not one single part of me that wants to have one with him. I'm going Sam Laporta. He is the other tight end, 100%. They will look for him inside the 10, inside the 5, and he'll get the job done, and I'll get number 2. EC, I know this is uncharted territory for you to have a gem next to your name, but you got to embrace it, enjoy it, feel it. You're up.
I love that Laporta pick, Coach. I actually would have taken that, but he was plus 900 this morning when I made my pick of the chalk at the time, which was Josh Reynolds. You know, listen, Reynolds has 3 catches in 5 of 6 games. He already matched last year's touchdown total of 3. I think he gets the first one. There weren't a lot of great options before Laporta drifted down. And you know what? One last thing. Yes, I am a low character guy, Phil. I would have hollered up a storm if I were you with that Dalton Kincaid miss last week. I would have had an absolute fit.
By the way, my girl Rebecca says, I'm with AB, but a little sprinkle with Sia too because I'm loyal. Rebecca, that's why we love you so very much. All right, it's that time. Phil McKagan.
It's that time. Like it's a big deal for me to.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's a big deal. This is serious business.
It is.
All right, why do you like my man Jameson tonight?
Well, I like this guy. I know this guy. I've met him a few times, but we're gonna, I just been manifesting some positivity over the last, and I realized that I had to cut negative people out. So all this banter with EC, it's just bringing me down. You know what I mean? It's like crabs in a bucket. It's just all this negativity. He's just trying to pull me down, and he did it successfully through 7 weeks of an NFL season. He took away from what I was able to contribute to the show. So I apologize to you guys. So what I'm going to tell you now is what's going to happen. Jameson Williams in a reduced split with Amon-Ra St. Brown on the left side. They're going to fake an outside zone play. Great play pass, high pylon route by Jameson Williams. Oh, no, back to the post because here comes Amon-Ra, attracts the safety, touchdown, walk in, 7-0 Lions.
Hashtag levels, boys. Hashtag.
Yeah, I was just going to say, can we give a shout out for a guy who's actually called plays at the highest level, just called a play with a double route.
We're over here we're just messing around. We actually got the real deal. You just made us all look stupid. Just like that.
If that happens, if it happens that way, I will not be on Thursday night show.
5 diamonds. If that
whoa. Do not bury the lead. What did you just say?
I don't. You think if Phil calls the play and his guy scores, you think I can face that?
So you just said you won't be on the show Thursday, correct? That's what you just said.
I did say that. Yeah, I'll come back next Monday.
We'll get buckets on here.
Yes, Jared Goff will make some. Yes,
Garoppolo.
Wow. All right. So if it happens just like you said, buckets is in, EC is out on Thursday night. Now, it is 10 after. We've only got 5 minutes till the start of the game. So what we're going to do is leave our plays up there. One line from everybody, and I do mean one. Counselor, go.
I mean, if Buckets is on the show Thursday, it's not Will Levis on Thursday Night Football. It's Will Levi's, and that's hilarious. Jacoby Myers over 61.5 receiving yards because of that concentrated target share. Josh Jacobs' longest rush under 13.5. He's been extremely inefficient.
That was great. Proppy.
Yeah, we're going to go Josh Reynolds over 34.5 receiving yards. He's having a breakout season. He's really emerged as a reliable target for Jared Goff. He's getting some valuable targets down the middle of the field as well. And then we're going to go over 64.5 rushing yards for Jahmyr Gibbs. This is an electrifying, very talented, young rookie running back. No David Montgomery. He will handle lead duties tonight in a very good matchup against a poor Raiders run defense.
And the Maestro's on Jacoby Myers over 4.5 catches, minus 145. AB, go.
Yep, it is your ass when you get away from the short pass. We're going to see those to the tight ends and running backs, but they're going to be turning the ball over once they go over 10 yards. Yep, take them.
Philzy, for the first time, you're up.
Yeah, I love Jahmyr Gibbs. He's got a great coordinator, a great position coach, Scotty Montgomery, who's a teammate of mine. Here's an awesome coach, and he got great scheme, and they're playing in prime time. These young guys love to perform on prime time.
EC, bring us home.
Jahmyr Gibbs under 15.5 rushing attempts. Small guy, doesn't want to run between the tackles that often. Michael Mayer over 21.5 receiving yards, playing nearly or more than 90% of the snaps for the Raiders with the starters. Expect him to get multiple catches tonight.
Do not forget, we are live tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and then at 4 p.m. Eastern Time in the afternoon, our Week 9 NFL Mega Preview with the Maestro and the Stoic one, R.J. White. This is all the damage we can do. Enjoy the game tonight. By the way, we've got a big bet on the over in the baseball game for the charity that I was at today. Root for the over. We'll make a bunch of money for them as well. But in the meantime, pay it forward. Be kind to one another and enjoy the games tonight because that's what it's all about. And remember this, there's only one thing left to do. And I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets straight to the pay window. For my entire crew, love them all. Counselor, Proppy, AB, EC, my man Coach Phil, and the snake always lurking. I am simply the coach, trying to keep this train on said track. We grind for you so we can win with you. It's truly what we're all about right here at Prime Time Early Edge. Good luck.